Today we're going to be revisiting Crash Bandicoot on PS1. Man, I get so much nostalgia looking at this startup screen. I mean, any of you guys watching this video are probably experiencing the same thing right now. You just... Even looking at the main menu just makes you feel all warm and happy inside. Here we are, Insanity Beach. Oh my gosh, dude. I can't even tell you the last time that I played the PS1 version of this game. I mean, ever since we got the Insane Trilogy, that's usually the way that I play this game nowadays, but... oh my gosh, man, this is just, it hits different playing the original version. Back in the day, I had 4 main Crash games that I played like crazy. Crash Bandicoot 1, Crash Bandicoot 2, Crash Bandicoot 3, and Crash Twinsanity. Crash Wrath of Cortex, I played it, I played it enough to beat it like 2 or 3 times, but not much beyond that. Believe it or not, I'm one of the people that actually genuinely enjoys Crash Wrath of Cortex. That being said, I don't know why, I just never ended up playing that one as much as the other ones, despite the fact that I actually do genuinely enjoy the game, despite the fact that, sure, compared to the other ones, I would rather be playing any of the other ones, like any of the other ones that I listed, at least like Crash 1, 2, or 3, or Crash Twinsanity. Fun fact about me, Crash Twinsanity, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm gonna say this in a video and I might get destroyed in the comments for it, but Crash Twinsanity is my favorite Crash Bandicoot game. Call it nostalgia bias, and hey, even if it is nostalgia bias, who cares? That's just my personal opinion, you know? It was just one of those things where growing up, like, I played all of these games a lot, but Crash Twinsanity was most definitely my most played Crash game. Nostalgia also probably has something to do with the fact as to why I genuinely enjoy Crash Tag Team Racing. And Crash Nitro Kart is actually a really underrated Crash game from that era as well. I played that game a ton. In fact, as much as I love Crash Team Racing, I ended up playing Crash Nitro Kart a bit more. I'm not really sure why. I don't necessarily have a preference between the two games. Like, I like both Crash Team Racing and Crash Nitro Kart. They're just, I don't know, they're both kind of like on the same level for me, I guess. Like, they basically, like, if you know anything about Crash Nitro Kart, it's essentially just Crash Team Racing, but with, like, shinier graphics, really. Like, sure, some of the mechanics are different, like the way that some of the vehicles control and such, but otherwise, the games are pretty identical. And for anyone curious, I am playing this with an Xbox One controller right now. We're playing on the Duck Station emulator, and yeah, you might be able to hear some of the clanking in the background, but I am playing via the D-pad. I don't know why. For the original Crash games, I never used the analog stick. Even though the games did support the analog controls, I just prefer using the D-pad. That's how it is for a lot of PS1 games, honestly. There's a couple PS1 games where I will use the analog stick instead, but for the most part, when it comes to games like Crash Bandicoot or Resident Evil or heck, even like Spyro, I just prefer to use the D-pad. I don't know, I guess it's just, especially for like Crash Bandicoot, right? Because like you want that precision in this game, like when you're trying to platform. It's crazy playing this game in 1080p. You know, normally when I play this game, I'm like playing it on my actual like PS1. This is my first time like actually trying to emulate the game and playing it that way, and oh my gosh, like we have it upscaled to 1080p right now, and I mean, you're seeing it on your screen. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, if somebody was to play this game for the first time nowadays, I would recommend playing the Insane Trilogy just because it's the newer, shinier version, and it has some new features that can make it a bit easier for newer players. That being said, if like the PS1 version is your only option, I mean, you're seeing it on your screen now. Maybe it's nostalgia bias, maybe it's just because I play a lot of retro games, but in my opinion, when I'm looking at these graphics, it still holds up incredibly well. Sure, we're upscaling it, but I mean, even despite that, like, it still looks fantastic. And again, though, I always do have to emphasize in these videos that, you know, Donkey Kong Country on the SNES was the first game that I ever played, and furthermore, I don't really care about graphics. As long as the game is fun, then that's all that really matters to me. I know some people need their ultra-realistic super graphics in their games, but for me personally, I mean, I don't have a bias either way. Like, I love super graphics. Obviously, like, back in the day when I was growing up, that was the thing. Like, oh my gosh, look at this game's graphics. Like, when Resident Evil 4 came out, that was one of the main benchmarks at the time, just to show, like, what games were capable of, like, on the GameCube and the PS2. Like, that game was insane at the time, and heck, even nowadays, like, it still looks absolutely fantastic. Then we had the remake come out a little bit ago, which, I mean, it's one of the best-looking games of all time. Like, it looks so good. That being said, super graphics or not, yeah, as long as the game's fun, I'll play, you know what I mean? Also find it pretty funny how in recent times, you know, for a while, everybody was like, well, if the graphics aren't good, then I don't want to play it. But nowadays, you got all these indie games coming out which are trying to replicate, like, the classic style of games, and now those games are becoming more popular than ever, and it's kind of like this, it's this funny dynamic where all the people that used to always be like, oh, I need my super graphics in my games, I can't play that retro BS, well, they're the same ones that, you know, were hopping on the Undertale train when that was happening, and that's literally, like, on, like, the NES tier of games, graphically speaking, at least. Not to mention other games that have come out in recent time that have absolutely blown up. Like, a prime example, Minecraft is still going as strong as ever. Then you got games like Fortnite and Fall Guys, which they aren't going for super graphics, they're super cartoony. And then you got other games like Among Us. Honestly, if you're one of those gamers watching this video and you're all about the super graphics and you refuse to play anything else if it's like before the Xbox One, PS4 generation, seriously, I implore you, just put your bias for graphics aside and just try playing one of these older games. I promise you, you're the only one missing out by not playing these older games. There were so many fantastic games that gamers like that are just simply missing out on because of their biases. Like, it honestly makes me sad how much they're actually missing out on, and they don't even know it. That's one of the reasons that I actually defend remakes, remasters, and ports and such nowadays, because like it allows gamers like that normally otherwise would be too stubborn to go back and actually play these games. It gives them a way to play it, and heck, in some instances, it's not even those gamers' fault, because I mean, you guys know how the secondhand gaming market is nowadays. Like, most of the games that you'd want to play from that era are above MSRP. Like, go try to buy Zelda Wind Waker HD, for example, on Wii U, or heck, even the original Zelda Wind Waker on GameCube, or basically any GameCube game. All those remakes, remasters, and ports allow those new players to actually be able to experience and enjoy those games, and it's honestly a beautiful thing. I know there's some people that are kind of against the ideas of remakes and remasters, but for me personally, I always support them. Sure, 99.9%. In fact, I'm gonna say 100% of the time, I don't believe that any game that's ever been made ever needs a remake. There is no such thing as a game needing a remake. There is just, you know, some games that could possibly benefit from getting a remake, but if a game was released in the past, I don't believe that there's such thing as a game that needs a remake. That's just, that no. Don't mind me, this is just another one of my ramblings. If you're new to the channel, I have a habit of doing this. I just start recording and then I just kind of say whatever comes to mind, whether it's coherent or not. Some people enjoy it, some people don't. Regardless, that's just my style of content, because, you know, most people when they make videos on games, a lot of them, you know, they'll do their Let's Play thing, they'll commentate over it, but man, this is Crash Bandicoot. How do I commentate over this? I'm running, I'm spinning, I hit the box, I picked up the life, there we go, we have another life, there's 12 lives right there, spin the box, get the apple, gonna keep running, gonna keep, like, you guys wouldn't want to listen to that for however long this video is. Don't ask me why, but I have a fascination for chase scenes like this in games, like whether it's Crash Bandicoot or like Lego Indiana Jones, you know, the beginning of the game when you're running from the boulder. I don't know why. There's something about these types of sections in games. I've always loved them, and I don't know why. There's something about, like, just being chased, like, just being helplessly chased that I love, and I don't know if that's a problem or not. It just gets the anxiety and the pulse going in a way that I can't explain. I just love it. I'm super tired today. I could barely sleep last night. I've been talking about it in the last couple of videos, but I ordered this controller for my phone, right? Basically, like, it stretches. It's sort of like a Razer Kishi, like a knockoff Kishi, if you guys know what those are, but basically it attaches onto your phone similar to like how Switch controllers would, and I ordered one of them because, you know, I've been getting into like emulating on my phone and such, and yeah, I was barely able to sleep last night because supposedly it's going to be coming today. I can't wait to kick back and play like Crash Twin Sanity or Resident Evil 4, like Rampage, or like Tony Hawk or something like that on my phone. I know there's so many like much more impressive things I could do with a controller like that, you know, play a bunch of like modern mobile games with it, but man, I'm just getting it so I can emulate some retro games. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to turn on the camera, chill, play some Crash Bandicoot, and revisit this classic gem. And yeah, I can definitely say, especially with like all the fancy upscaling going on here, this game holds up amazingly well nowadays. And, you know, if you don't have a PS1 or if you don't have access to that hardware, an original copy of the game, because I mean, you don't even need a PS1 to play this game. As long as you have a PS1 version of the game, which you can get for about 20 to 30 bucks last time I checked on eBay, you can play it on either a PS2 or a PS3, which are still relatively easy to come by. Then you can still play it that way, or if not, if that really hurt, I just hit my hand on the desk, ow, and you can always emulate it on PC, but make sure that you legally acquire the ROMs. I gotta say that so I don't get in trouble. Either that or the Insane Trilogy. Honestly, the only wrong way to play Crash Bandicoot is to not play it at all. But anyway, as always, a massive shout out to the patrons and channel members. Thank you to all of you in the low baller tier, and an even bigger shout out and thank you to all of you in the big baller tier, Mellow Last King and Big Daddy Matty, and the biggest shout out and thank you to all of you in the G tier, Rider Vengeance and Little Cheese Girl. Thank you guys so much. You guys are literal legends. I love you. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.